Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat, and I am back to work on the new abandoned journal. So this one's going to be using the Rusty Abandoned kit that I just came out with. I have all the pages folded right now because I'm trying to get some signatures together, but it was, see if I can find one. Oh, here, this one with all the rusty and abandoned old houses, this set. So that's what I'm using. I'm also using like my Alaskan wallpaper and my industrial add-on and rust and numbers. And this is my grungy turquoise wallpaper. So yeah, I've got a few different kits that I'm using with this. That's the rust and numbers. So a lot of those kits would all go together if you have them. If you just have the abandoned kit, of course, you can just use like some coffee dyed papers or, you know, Tim Holtz Distress Oxide dyed papers or whatever you like. So what I'm going to do is another flip-flop journal, but I'm going to use two large, these are 12 by 9, that's their size, 12 by 9 manila envelopes. So these are just, I think I got these at the dollar store because those little metal things just pop right off really easy. So you don't need anything expensive or fancy. And if you're like, well, I don't have those, then just use a piece of paper that measures 24 inches long by 9 inches high. And then that will give you that kind of 6 by 9 size journal. But it's flip-flop, so obviously it's a lot longer cover. So what I'm going to do is just take the two ends with the sticky, you know, part that you're supposed to lick, that I don't ever lick, I just tape, and put those inside of each other. One inside of the other, basically, is what it is. And then the other one will be on the outside, and I'm just going to glue that down because all of this will most likely get covered. And I'm not totally sure. I think I'm going to just cover it with some sewing tissue paper. You could use any kind of tissue paper because I probably will be putting a little bit of Distress Oxide spray on it. So again, doesn't have to be anything fancy. I just like the tissue sewing paper because it's that kind of brown color, you know. So the first thing I'm going to do is the flap that goes inside, I'm going to put glue on the back, or I guess you would call that the front of the flap, not the already gluey side. And I haven't decided if I want to use these as pockets, so I'm going to kind of leave that option open. If I don't, I don't, but I want to at least have it as a possibility. So just make sure you get all your like edges glued really well, you know, your corners, because that's where you're going to have problems with other things grabbing onto it if it's not glued down well. This is always the tricky thing in trying to get on camera. So yeah, I thought this would be a fantastic way to make one of these because a lot of people are saying they didn't have the thicker, what do you call it? Masking paper, you know, painter's paper. A lot of people said they only had the thinner, which I think you could double, or you could use, I can't remember who mentioned, but was it Barbara or Beverly? I always get you two confused for some reason. But anyways, like actual shopping bags, grocery bags, the paper ones. And obviously that would work fantastic. You just need to put pieces together to get the right size. So you can see I have the edges right up to each other, but there is this gap because the envelopes, you know, dip down. But again, most likely this is all going to get covered. So I'm not going to stress about that because it's not going to matter. And then I'm going to put glue on the actual sticky flap. Sorry, I keep banging it into everything because this is so long. So how are you guys doing? I hope you're all fantastic. The sun is shining. So, oh, did I do that wrong? No. So I'm in a fantastic mood. Always love it if the sun is shining, right? Getting some stuff done this morning. I want to say hugs and blessings to Linda J at SKC92 Art, or 921 Art. Sorry, some of those, you know, I don't know what they're called, domain names or whatever they are. I get confused. Profile names. And Diane. I want to say hugs and blessings to the three of you, and thank you for watching and your kind comments. Always kind comments. And yeah, just thank you. And welcome to new subscribers, and welcome back to continuing subscribers. I love you all. Okay, so then now that I am glued together, what the idea is, you're going to fold this one to that middle. There's, I don't, you probably can't see it, but the envelope has like a line that runs right here. So you're folding basically to that line. And you don't really want to go too, you don't want to get crazy with overlapping or anything like that. So this is going to be the front of the journal. Okay, and then that flap that is this middle part is going to fold back this way, maybe. It's wet still, so if, sorry, I'm just holding it off camera so I can get a handle on it here. When you do it with your own, I would wait until the glue dries. That's always best advice there is. Because it's getting a little wonky here. It doesn't want to fold on the fold. So I think I will score it. And now it's got a weird lump because of the glue thing. Okay, so I'm going to score it again on that same line, if I can find my scoreboard. So hopefully it will fold better than it was. So I'm basically going to run it right down the middle of those two envelopes. If you let it dry, I have a feeling it will fold just fine. But because mine is wet, it doesn't want to. It's being difficult. It's always the tricky part with videos, right? If you do videos, you feel my pain on that. See, now that's not on where that is. Moved it. Okay, that should hopefully do it. We shall see. Put my bone folder back in there, or I will be looking everywhere for it. Okay, so that is my front. It needs to fold back this direction. And I want to make sure, hopefully, that I get it as even as possible. I know this is seeming very complicated when it's not. It's just a matter of dealing with the glue. Okay. There we go. Much better. And of course, you know, we like to think that all these envelopes are like square and stuff, but they're not. They often can be very wonky. And so that always gives us some fits too. And then you're folding that other side up so it matches up with, you know, everything else, all the other flaps, I guess you would say. And give it a good score because it's pretty thick. It doesn't really want to, it just doesn't want to. How's that? This one's a little more this way than I want. So yeah, you just gotta mess with it. Like I said, they are not square. And you wanna do what they wanna do. It just really does not want to go to that edge and crease down here. It wants to stay right where it was. Okay, well, I think that's as good as it's going to get. So it opens like this. You have a signature here. This part comes over. You have a signature right here. That's the back. Then you flip it this way, and there's a signature right there. So it's the same thing as we did before, just a different type of cover. And I'm going to shine this light up here. See if that helps at all. But you can see it's definitely an accordion. Okay. So we have our base, and that's all you have to do to make the whole flip-flop thing happen. I may go ahead and use those because I kind of do. I like that idea of being able to tuck something in there. Let me just, but I do want to cover up obviously these holes and stuff like that. But the tissue is not going to do that very well, is it? Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work or not to do the tissue. What I don't want is it to get too thick because we already have 2 thicknesses of paper here is what I'm thinking. So what I might do is cover with tissue first, and then when I start decorating, maybe I will, you know, put something on those spots so that hopefully it covers them up well. So I have this sewing tissue, and as you all probably know, if you deal with sewing tissue, one side is a tiny bit shiny. These are old vintage ones, so they're not as bad as some of the newer ones. And one side is more muted or flat, dull, matte, however you want to say it. And I'm just going to kind of tear pieces and have it overlap in some spots. And I kind of want the crinkly look too, because then if I add some, what do you call it, distress oxide, it will kind of get in those little crevices and stuff, and you kind of end up with a look that's a little bit like leather. I'm trying to see if it even matters which way this goes. I kind of want the numbers and everything going the right way, so I guess I'm going to have what you would call the shiny side out, but it's not really going to matter because I'm using a matte gel. You can use Mod Podge, you can use whatever it is that you like. I have this Master's Touch Matte Gel Acrylic Medium. But you can even use like watered down glue, and that works, especially for something like this. Doesn't really matter. I should probably put something under this so I don't get it all over my mat. Like that. Yeah, it's a really beautiful day out. Beautiful, beautiful. Which makes me happy. So this probably isn't going to be super duper exciting, and if you have seen this type of thing before, you can feel free to, you know, you don't have to watch if you're not into it. But if you're curious or new or whatever, or just want to hang out with me, thank you. I appreciate it. We're just gonna get this all down on here though. So like I said, not probably going to be super duper exciting. But I don't have a whole lot else done yet, so we're just going to do a craft with me, and if you end up sticking around, great. Sorry, I keep bumping the light bulbs. I really got to get a ring light, I've decided. I just got to do it. My husband's like, you've got a million lights in there. It's like, yeah, I know, but they're either too dark or too bright, so yeah. Seems to be the way of it. And I did try to figure out those settings, Sandy. I don't know. I guess I'm a ding dong. I'm not very tech savvy when it comes to that kind of thing. Like, I can do the stuff I have to do to make digitals and do all that, but that's only because my son has, you know, written stuff down for me. I've written stuff down. I have a little cheat sheet book that I use, and I've done it enough times now, but man, I'm telling you, it's always something with the technology, always. And I just am not very good at it. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm too old. My son's like, I don't understand why it's so hard. Can you just explain to me? And it's like, I don't know. I think it's just because, like, my generation, I didn't really mess with computers. I mean, I used them when I worked in the hospital, but that was just to put in orders and things. Like, you did the same things over and over again, if you see what I mean. I didn't have to troubleshoot or figure anything out. We'd call tech IT for that. But, yeah, I keep trying to tell him, it was much later in my life when I started really doing anything with computers than, you know, it is for you guys. My kids, when I say you guys, is what I'm meaning. And I just think some people, it's more interesting to them, so obviously they pay closer attention when it comes to how to do certain things. I find it very tedious and boring. So I think that's part of the problem, to be honest. I just think it's a lack of interest issue. Like, I kind of feel like Charlie Brown with the teacher with the want. Like, that's how I feel sometimes when people are trying to explain these things to me. I'm sure it has something to do with my artist brain. Like, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I don't get it, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't get it a lot of the time. But I think lack of interest also does not help that whole issue. It's kind of the way I felt when I was in math class too. I just couldn't pay attention. My brain's off doing something else while they're trying to explain this boring. Ugh. And I just think that's the way it is. Everybody's got their thing, you know? But I do appreciate it so much, Sandy. It was so, oh my goodness, sweet of you to take your time and go look that up. And I am still working on it, so I promise you guys I am trying to figure it out. I'm not just blowing everybody off. Most people have said it's better, so that's good until we can get it figured out. But I'm doing the best I can. And now that my son doesn't live here anymore, you know, I can't just help him or get him to help me troubleshoot stuff like that because he's not here. This is the only problem with doing this. It starts to stick to everything. So what I might do is pause and come back, although I don't know what I'll do when I come back. But I really just wanted to show you guys this is how I was going to do the cover, because I've had a couple of you say that you want to work along, you know, with me on it. So I wanted to make sure I showed you what I was doing. And obviously, if you want to do your cover different, like collage it with paper or do napkins or whatever you choose, that's fantastic too. Just want to put something on it that we can get a little bit of texture to. Something interesting. And that doesn't mean that things won't be put on top of this, because they probably will. Well, I know for a fact there'll be pockets and things, because I want to do it very similar to the last one I did. Because of that, I love the way that turned out. Put quite a bit into that, and it got pretty fat, but it wasn't at all gator mouth, because obviously, you know, they were going this way and that way, so didn't have that problem. And it was pretty easy to sew the signatures in that one too, I felt like. I do like some wrinkles in this. This old tissue paper just sucks that stuff up. I was thinking that's way too much right there. It still might be, but it just kind of sucks it up. Oh my gosh, you guys. I know I said I was going to pause, but I have to tell you. My husband and I have been watching the newest Fargo, because I've never seen the movie, but we got watching the TV series. And we loved the first one that they did. And then, I don't remember if it was 2 more or just 1 more. It might have been 2. The next one was like, okay. We were like, okay, that was okay. But then the third one, we couldn't even finish, because we were just like not into it at all. And then they just came out with a new one. And it's the girl, I don't know if you guys have watched Ted Danson, and I don't know her real name, but she's... is it Keely? Keely from Ted Danson. Oh my gosh, I was so impressed with her in this part, because, you know, she kind of, not that there was anything wrong with her part on Ted Danson either, but it just, I was, you know, wondering if she was going to play the same type of character or totally different character, but oh my gosh. She was so good, and it is so crazy. I was just like, you gotta watch it. If you haven't watched it, I highly, highly recommend it. It's kind of, it is violent, but I mean, I kind of think all those are, it's the nature of it, like they're, you know, kind of murder mystery, obviously, type things. So it is violent, and I'm not gonna lie to you about that. But it was just excellent, and she did such an amazing job, like blew me away. I just, like, it was very believable. You know how sometimes you watch a show and you're like, yeah, I'm not buying it. I don't buy it with that person doesn't fit that part, blah blah blah, whatever. I do that a lot. Maybe it's just me, but you know, sometimes it just doesn't work for you. You're like, I just not buying it. But she just did such a great job. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Fantastic. So if you haven't seen the new season of Fargo, and you like that kind of show, because like I said, it is a little violent, definitely. And like spouse abuse is an element of it, so like trigger warning is, you know, but it's excellent. If you like shows like that. I don't know what I'm doing. I can put this piece down here. So, all right, I will pause and be back. Okay, I got it all covered, as you can see. One side. This is just one side. So it's going to have to dry. Yeah, so I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. And while that dries, we probably won't see it again today, but I'm going to work on some of the pages. And again, this is not super exciting, But if you're new to junk journals, then obviously this could be helpful. So some of these you can see are too tall and all that. I was just trying to get sort of my pages sorted a little bit yesterday, and that's about as far as I got. But I have some old postcards. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the last journal with the old book pages. This is about gold mining. And I'm just going to take this. And I got this from a thrift store. You know, the books, like the wedding sign-in books or whatever they're called that people get. And there was no writing in it. So I just took out all the pages and coffee dyed them. So definitely always check, you know, if you like to thrift or whatever. Just always check their paper book section, because a lot of times they have great things. I'm just going to ink a little bit on that edge, and I'll trim it. I want mostly the writing, so I'm going to try to get sort of, you know, this area is what I want. And then I'll just cut off the rest. So yeah, not super exciting today, but at least we have a start, right? And I think those are so fun to make and pretty darn easy, really. I mean, yeah, you know, it's going to take you a minute if you're going to do collaging or whatever to the cover. But there's always something that takes a while in journal making. So it's just par for the course, really. And this one kind of has some of that glue on there. I'm not that worried. I like the rough edge, so that's why I didn't cut it off. And then I'm just going to trim that so that it's no taller than 9 inches tall. So I'll probably just go ahead and I'll leave a little bit. Let me do this end first. So 9, or wait, we don't want it 9. We want it 8.5. Yeah, so let's do... Sorry, I kind of want it to be as even as possible, is what I'm trying to figure out. So 8.5. Okay, so this one obviously is shorter, but it's fine. That's how it is when you are putting different book pages together, so I'm not going to worry about it a whole lot. I did get this pretty crooked, though. Of course, it could just be the page is a little crooked, the one underneath. It's really pretty close as far as that end, and I don't want to go over in case I have to trim. Sometimes you have to trim them a little bit. It's really weird because it's lined up. When it's lined up, it's crooked. We're back to that whole thing. Oh, well, I guess it's going to be what it is. It doesn't want to be any better than that. So there's one page. So that is useful. And now it's the right size. I may end up trimming that off right there, but I'll worry about that in a minute. Let me trim this one. And these are pages out of oh, is that, what's happening here? Oh, there are. That statistical book that I have, and I just took out a whole, you know, section. So I want to make sure that this is also 8.5. I'll take not the turned over edge. See, even these in these old books for 100 years, and it's even crooked. Okay, so I'm going to start with This is tricky because that edge is bent. I could flip it over, I guess. But so now it should be right about the right size. And then we need this to be 5.5. So we need to take a little off of there too. I'm going to take a little extra just because I know it'll end up getting trimmed off eventually. So there's that one. That one can be used for something else. So now we have, that's going to be my front, and then we'll put one of these in. And then we have just a coffee dyed. It's a grungy old coffee dyed, but that's fine. And I don't have very many of those. And then do I want, I think I'll use this one that I already have fixed there. And then we'll take, I try to kind of do the every other page thing. So, you know, I do a digital, and then I do like coffee dye, and then move on like that. And this one, that's going to be my center. So I'm going to need to add some more pages. I'm going to probably have to print some more stuff. So this, what I'm thinking of doing, this is a history book page. And then I have these first day of cover envelopes, and they're sealed because it's all about the stamp. So let me get this cut to the right size. It's almost there already, but we're going to cut just a little more off. And then is this one 8.5? Yeah, I already cut it, but sometimes that doesn't mean anything. Okay, so then I thought it would be fun if we just attached this rather than worrying about the envelope flap. Maybe I'll turn it that way because it's already sealed, so I can't, you know, use the flap to attach with. So I think I'm just going to glue it directly onto those pages just as a little extra. They're just cool to look at. And then when you open this, you could write a little bit here. You could add more writing space or photographs, whatever you like, to your journals. I just do just like that kind of thing, not a lot. And I just need to figure out, do I want it to come all the way out to the edge? I think I'll go just a little bit in. There's always that possibility once you get stacked all the way to the center of a signature that you may have to cut some off, and I don't want to end up cutting this envelope at all. So plus it's kind of fun to have different size pages and stuff, I think. So maybe I'll just go, if I go to the writing, I'm going to come in just a little bit more, I guess. Try to get it semi-centered. But these are cool because you can see the aging on them and stuff. Okay, so that'll just open like that. I'll put that one there. And then I'm going to need, see, that just looks cool. I need something else though, because we need more than, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to print more. I think I'll use one of these. These are from my friend Betty Ann. Thank you, Betty Ann. She dyed lovely papers and sent me some. So, super duper sweet of her to share, because I know I don't hardly ever dye anything. So that one can go there. And then, so I have this is ledger, obviously. Looks like it might have to be cut down a little bit. So this is, I know, super boring, but this is sort of how it goes when you're trying to figure out signatures. Yeah, that's way too wide. I need to cut that down. You just gotta play with things, see what works, what doesn't work, what looks good together, what doesn't. It's just that back and forth. I don't know, that's just how it is, because we need to be 5.5, and I think I was thinking 6. So I'm gonna pull this fold back a little. Sometimes you get folding and you're thinking the size of the cover rather than the page size, which I do quite frequently, and then I messed up, see? And then I have to go fix things. So I'm gonna go down to that one. Okay, and then how long are these? I just need to take a little bit off. The length this way doesn't change in a journal much, but the other direction it does, because you're stacking papers inside of each other. Kind of makes it goofy. Okay. So there's that now. I'm going to put that sort of somewhere near the front too. I'm going to probably have to print out some more things. Let me steal one of these. So we've got that. I need one more kit page. Oh, I know what I want. I want one of these. These are my vintage ads that are in my Etsy shop, and they come from a directory that I have. From Nevada, Virginia City, Nevada, where I grew up. But it's a really old directory. I don't remember what year it is. But anyway, I just took scans of that. And that's what these are. So they are actual old, the book, oh my gosh. I'll grab the book and show you guys just a second. It's sad days for that book. That book is in rough shape. I think I want it next to this green. And this is just ledger paper, newer, you know, you can get fairly easily. Let me grab that book. Hold on just a second. Look at it. It is in so bad shape. Oh my goodness. But see, all the pages, they're actually colored. The ones that I had to take, I mean, a lot of them are falling out, but I had to take them out to make copies of them. But it's like you barely want to touch it. But all the ads were in the front, and then you see it's just names and addresses, or, you know, basically where they are. So it's just super cool. It's a great, I mean, look at the tape and everything. Yeah, but it's falling apart, and I can't, it's awful because it's where I grew up. I can't part with it. Like I could use it, you know, the actual pages, but I can't get myself to do that because, you know, I just can't. It's so silly, but so see, this is what I'm talking about. You end up with some that stick out more. I cut mine off. You don't have to do that. A lot of people don't do that, but I don't know. I just don't really like it when they're sticking out like that. So I usually try to find the worst offenders, and then I go to chopping. See, like that does stick out. So you can only obviously cut so many pages at one time. So I'll cut a little bit off of these. I just kind of get it in my mind about how much it was too big. I know, it's a real great way to do it, right? But it's about, I don't know, is that a 16th or whatever? That's what it was. So this is why I didn't want to, oh, see, I did it with that one. Oh, well. And did I do it with this one? I did! Oh, you guys. Oh, they got trimmed up. I didn't get their longer bits. See, that's what I don't like about that. Oh well, so much for foldovers on those ones. That's why I stink at the foldovers, because I do that a lot. This cutter tries to make me crazy too, to top it off. Oh, and see, now it's way more. So measuring is probably a better idea. Okay. Oh, Pasha. He's walking on paper and all that. Found a bag to sit on. Okay, so that'll be fine once it's stitched. It'll tuck it more once it's stitched. But see, what happens is you stack, 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 stack. These ones in here end up sticking out way further. So that's why I do that. That looks a lot better to me, nice and even. But other than I chopped off my pages. I mean, not that it hurts anything. They just aren't as long as they were. So, yeah, that's why I didn't want that envelope out there, because it's fine. But that's always something to think about. Maybe cut them before you do those folds. I don't know. All right, so I think we'll stop there because I've got to do 3 of these, and I know this isn't the most exciting. I just wanted to kind of show you guys how I do it, and then we'll be ready to go. Once that gets dry, we can move on. So for now, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you guys soon. Love ya. Bye.